Feminism. This is Roxanne Dunbar of the female liberation as a basis for social revolution discourse. I know how much Anthony hates feminism. And I didn't understand because I didn't dig too deep until recently. And when I found this quote that I'll share with you right now, I began to realize how evil feminism really is. So according to Roxanne Dunbar, how will the family unit be destroyed? This is her question. She poses this. How will the family unit be destroyed? After all, women must take care of the children, and there will continue to be children. Our demand for full-time childcare in the public schools will be met to some degree overall, and perhaps fully in places. You see this. The alleviation of the duty of the full-time childcare in private situations will free many women to make decisions they could not before. But more than that, the demand alone will throw the whole ideology of the family into question so that women can begin establishing a community of work with each other and can fight collectively. Women will be freer to leave their husbands and become economically independent, either through a job or welfare. Yeah. You know, and I didn't realize this. I thought it was more about women's rights, and I understand women's rights, and I'm okay with women's rights. But this is an assault. It is terrorism against the family. They want to destroy it because it is the founding building block. She's right. She acknowledges it's the building block of our civilization. There's evil at play. There's nothing to be built or grown or good by destroying the family. No civilization survives with destroyed families. The war on family, I'm going to start going a little bit quicker here. Consumerism. Consumerism has been, to me, I think is the disease that we're all addicted to. They say, you know, capitalism is the problem, but it's not. It's us. It's the constant sucking in consumption, be it food, entertainment, needing more. And apparently, what I've learned is that the pregnant woman is the biggest spender in America. You want to make a lot of money, you sell shit to pregnant women. And if you've ever had a pregnant woman, you know how much shit gets bought. They even have these racket parties where they call them showers, where they shower you with all kinds of shit that you'll never need because you got to spend money. The baby. Bullshit. Families are more... Yeah. You guys are laughing because you know. We have these showers, there's like all kinds of junk that we've never used. And because our order is backwards when we put children on the top and fathers at the bottom, it basically goes like, wife, what do you feel the child needs? Which is basically everything. It's the baby. We got to sacrifice. And as a man, as a servant leader, doing the best he can, especially if not red-pilled, yes, dear. And so he provides for a bunch of bullshit. And it's not the woman's fault, and it's not the baby's fault. I don't need to say any more. Families are more focused on working jobs to buy more stuff rather than providing guidance, offering wisdom, and teaching religion. Now, make no mistake, your children are learning religion. In the schools, even the public schools, on television, they're getting guidance. They're getting wisdom. They're just not getting the right stuff. They're not getting what you would want them to have, if you've even thought about what you want them to have. Because that's tough for us to even think when we're swimming in the shit. Tanner used the term yesterday. I felt my heart sank when he said, you guys are living in the wastelands. Was that the term you used? The ruins. Yeah, we're living in Babylon. We're living in the ruins. It's pervasive, insidious, all around us. We're suffocating with this shit. And make no mistake, it is religion. It's not the religion of our fathers. It's the religion of our matriarchy, bonobo religion. War on family, corporations, women in the workforce flood the market with excess labor, and limited jobs, thus driving down wages. So you got to understand it has a lot to do with profit. To destroy the family in this sort of backdoor way where let's liberate women, like Dunbar said, and guess what that does? That creates, what does that mean now, 5 minutes? Oh, thank you. That creates more competition in the workplace. So a number of things happens. Number one, now women and men are competing with each other. I mean, the list goes on. Women and men are competing with each other for less jobs, lower wages. Women are not in the home, so they're not caring for their children. They're not leading their children. They're not caring for their homes. They're out there having extramarital affairs. Why? Why? Corporations and the media and the emotion that they drum up around women in the workplace trick everybody. The most important job, profession, devotion to something in life is the bearing and rearing of children. What could possibly be more important in the corporate world than bearing and caring for and raising children? Nothing. But it's a trick. They've been tricked into thinking that they are somehow enlightened and progressive by sending their kids to childcare and competing with men in the marketplace. And because of the Marxist attitude, the social Marxism, you can't say anything against that. You can't refute that because then you're a misogynist. You're some sort of a extremist. This is extreme shit right here. If you look into the history of mankind, this is extreme. We're in a weird place, folks. So I'm sort of making a case, and I'm talking around why, marriage is a good idea, and I think I can get more into that. I tried to relate that with my story. But if you do decide to get married, right, which, my only hang-up, this is my biggest hang-up with marriage right now, is state involvement. It's my biggest hang-up. I think marriage is wonderful. It's great. I'm giving you a case for it. My whole thing's called In Defense of Marriage. But the one thing that that is the fly in the ointment is the state involvement. And I think they know that. They got us by the balls in that way. And I think religion needs to go back to between the man, the woman, and the Creator and get the state out of it completely. Neither here nor there. But, the state loves divorce. So here are some of the liberal lies that encourage divorce. The spiritual awakening. So I want to go there right now. The spiritual awakening. Everybody's woke. And this is this particularly comes from this book, Eat, Pray, Love, where this was like a bestseller. I think Oprah's bestseller. And somehow in this story, the woman, she settles down, gets married. We all know the story. He's probably a beta male provider. Has children. And then she falls out of love. And she wants to go and find herself and go to Bali and India in the East. So here's where I'm going to go with that. And so she has a spiritual awakening. I'm coming to this sense. Let me put it. I'm spiritually promiscuous, meaning I love God, I love religion, I've dabbled with it all, and I love Eastern religion. In fact, it was a big part of my foundation is Taoism and Buddhism, and studying the work of Alan Watts way back when it was on, he wasn't on YouTube. There was no YouTube back then. But I think Eastern religion coming to the West, where we were mostly Abrahamic, has created a lot of chaos. And I think one of the bits of chaotic bullshit that we were fed is this spiritual awakening stuff and how it just liberates you to be and do whatever you want. Spiritual awakening in this sense is not, and even this word has its negative association these days, it's not religion because it doesn't unify the father with the mother. It doesn't bring pattern down into matter through discipline and boundaries. This is the idea that anything goes. It's the left hand. So spiritual awakening, my ass. Divorce is a celebration, and I see this with, now my wife and I have always been younger than our children's friends' parents, but a lot of my wife's friends are our children's friends' parents. So they're a little bit older than us. We got started early. So we get to kind of see not what our life would look like, but what life starts to look like a few steps down the road for those who live in the ruins. And one of the things that they do is it's a celebration. Well, you're going to get divorced. And it's the women, of course. The guys, we ain't doing this. But when I've kind of stepped in and spoke to some of the guys that I know were having divorces. And I don't throw a celebration. Actually what I've been doing is I've been throwing a red pill party. I'm like, okay, now she's gone. And I hand him a book of Rational Male. And read this and start spinning plates, bro. But the women, what they do is, it turns into this, whole liberation party. And Rollo talks about how women will never check their other women's hypergamy. And even my wife, who's a great wife, is out there celebrating with her friends that are having divorces. And she knows how I feel about that. But she can't help it. She's got hypergamy. And so they cheer each other on no matter how wrong they are. They can't help it. And I understand it. It's biological. I've had my fly open the whole time. I'm a chimp. You see those chimps? They look like gangsters. They have his ball hanging out. Divorce leads to a sex-filled single life. This is that old Sex and the City bullshit that they give them on TV. These all used up 50-year-old hags who are out there screwing are not what men are looking for. They're not out there. I think Rollo calls it the redevelopment stage, where they might, and I see them, they come to my gym. They lose a little weight, they always gain it back. I'm watching them right now. Now, my wife went out with a couple of them. All the girls in the gym, they'll go out together sometimes. She put a picture on Instagram from last night. I was like, damn, them bitches are getting fat again. They started coming to my gym because they were having divorces, right? It's funny. They were having divorces. They started coming to my gym. They started losing weight. And all of a sudden, now they're getting laid out there. And a lot of them that's it. They're getting pounded, and they just gained the weight back. So they think they're going to have this sex-filled life, but you know what? As we all know, you're just going to do the same thing you did before in a different way. You didn't heal yourself. You didn't evolve. You didn't grow more mature as a result of your divorce. You didn't grow up and can do it better next time. You're more than likely just going back to trying to be in your party years, but now you're old and you got baggage. What are you trying to do? Get boned? You're gonna hit menopause in a couple of years. So it's like you're on your last leg. But anyway, they believe they're going out there and they have this sex-filled life. This gets to I got a lot to say. Yeah, I'll talk all over. The myth of perpetual youth, delayed childbirth, for career, partying, Single life is more interesting. Addiction to the thrill of falling in love again. This goes both ways. I don't want to pick on women, but a lot of guys out there, I really like what Pat said before, and I think what some of the other guys were saying before about love. Don't trust love. I think Steve was talking about it. Love has been completely misconstrued and turned into this emotional, physical, sensational melting that's a high, just like any drug. People who are addicted, especially men I'm talking now, who are addicted to sex, who are addicted to falling in love, are no better than a heroin addict. Because you're out there just looking for that next high. It feels good to, quote unquote, fall in love, but it's a thrill. It's just like getting on a roller coaster. You're going to get back off, and when you get down off that roller coaster, you're going to be a little dizzy. Right? Cheap thrill. Falling in love, there's nothing sexy about falling in love. Don't trust. This is what one of my favorite Eastern gurus said, Osho. Never trust a man who's fallen in love. Do not trust a man when he is in love. Because you're not yourself. You're clouded. I think that's what Pat said before. He says that you're clouded by the emotion. You're not a rational male when you're in love. Don't be in love.